There seems to be a lot of interest among gardeners in using wool in their garden. They're using it as a soil amendment, fertilizer, so it has lots of nitrogen. It's even used for slug control. Do these things work? And should you be using wool? To get us started, let's get to understand wool a little better. There are 4 different categories of wool. There's something we could call a para-wool. This is a good quality wool that's used for making clothes, and that's not the kind of material we're talking about here. There's also waste wool. So when you shear sheep, the wool that's in the belly and around the rump is not a good quality wool and is usually not used in the garment industry. It's a waste product, and people are looking for ways to make better use of that. We also have something called coarse wool. So sheep are grown for the wool, and they're also grown for meat. And sheep that are grown for meat have a much coarser type of wool. That wool is not used for making clothing. It can be used for making things like carpets, but it turns out there's a glut of this kind of wool in the marketplace, so it's pretty hard to get rid of. So most farmers have trouble selling this kind of wool. And then there's mill waste. This is wool that's left over during the manufacturing process, basically scraps that end up on the factory floor. The last 3 categories of wool can be used in the garden, and they're used in 2 different ways. There's raw wool. That's where we get the wool that's shaven off the sheep and basically use it as is in long fibers. They're clumps of wool. The other way that gardeners can use wool is in the form of pellets. Manufacturers take the raw wool, clean it up, process it, and then compress it into pellets. And the pellets look a lot like rabbit food or organic alfalfa pellets. So why is there an interest in wool for the garden? Well, it has a couple unique properties. It retains a lot of moisture. It has a high nitrogen content compared to other organic material. It decomposes slowly, releasing those nutrients, and it aerates soil. So let's have a closer look at each of these functions. Wool absorbs a lot of moisture, up to 20% of its own weight in moisture. This is about the same as peat moss. The difference between peat moss and wool is that as peat moss absorbs this moisture, it doesn't really expand very much. Wool, on the other hand, expands quite a bit. Now, I have seen some manufacturers of wool claim that it absorbs more moisture than peat moss, but I couldn't find any real evidence to support that idea. And I'm not sure that's a real benefit. A lot of people who grow in potting media made from peat moss have a problem overwatering their plants. They keep them too wet. So replacing some of the peat moss with wool that absorbs even more water just causes a bigger problem. Based on the science, though, it seems like wool and peat moss absorb about the same amount of water, 20%. The average NPK for wool is 902. So it has 9% nitrogen, which is quite high compared to other types of organic material. That's one of the big benefits of wool. It also has a fair amount of sulfur, and you don't always find high levels of sulfur in other types of organic fertilizer. It also has a number of other micronutrients. Here's a list of an analysis for 2 different kinds of wool. The C/N ratio is about 5, and then it has a fair amount of calcium, some potassium, some magnesium, and you'll notice quite a high level of sulfur. The pH of wool is about 8.4, which is quite different than peat moss, which is down in the 4.55 range. So what happens when we take wool and we put it in our soil or lay it on top of our soil? Well, it slowly decomposes. Wool is made up of mostly keratin. That's the same material as we find in our hair and in our fingernails. And there are special microbes that decompose that keratin. Over time, the wool breaks down, just like any other organic material. And slowly, it releases the nutrients inside of the wool. So how quickly does this happen? Well, I had a very hard time finding a clear answer to that. In my blog post, I list a number of studies that you can have a closer look at, but the numbers vary quite a bit. Some people say that there's very little nitrogen released in the first 3 months, and then after that, the amount of nitrogen released speeds up. One study said that there's enough nitrogen being released so that you can grow 2 crops, so 2 seasons. That's basically 2 years. But then I found another study that said there's enough nitrogen coming out of this wool to make it worth using for a 5-year period. No one seems to have a clear answer. Now, manufacturers of the products, they have their own opinion, and in most cases, they indicate that the nitrogen comes out fairly quickly, which indicates that the material decomposes relatively quickly, like in one summer season. But I think that information is wrong. The science suggests that wool decomposes fairly slowly and may even decompose slower than compost. Now, some of you may not know that finished compost, once we add that to soil, slowly decomposes over a period of about 5 years, with most of the nutrients being released in the first 4 years. So I think wool is in that ballpark and may in fact last a little longer than compost. Why is this so important? Well, if we're going to use the wool as a fertilizer to provide nitrogen from our plants, it's important to know how quickly it decomposes. And this is a real problem with most organic products. They release nutrients very slowly over a long period of time. Now, that's great for feeding bacteria, for soil building, for long-term improvement of your garden. It's not very good for short-term feeding of plants. So using this material in a potted container, for example, or a raised bed where you want to feed these plants right away, this is not a good option, but it may be a good option for long-term improvement of soil. The third property of wool is that it aerates the soil. I didn't find a lot of information about this, but I guess what happens is that if we incorporate the wool pellets in soil, they absorb moisture and they expand. So they actually create openings in the soil. They tend to aerate the soil and make these channels that then roots can use. But there seems to be very few studies about this. I didn't find any study that claimed that wool was better at conditioning soil long term than other types of organic matter. There's no magic here. All organic matter decomposes and improves soil. Wool can be used in 2 basic formats in the garden. One is as raw wool. Now, this is large chunks of wool. It's very fluffy. It's really hard to dig in the soil, so it's really only good to be used as a mulch, and it's generally just laid on the surface of the soil. Now, it has a couple problems. It's a little hard to actually lay on the soil. It's not easy material to work with. Something like wood chips and straw is easier to handle in the garden. The other problem is that wool tends to blow away if it's dry, but it can be used as a mulch. And once it's wet, it actually works fairly well at controlling weeds, keeping moisture in the soil, keeping the soil cool, all the things that any mulch would do. One study looked at the temperature of the soil and found that wool actually keeps the temperature lower than either bark or straw. So that may be a plus for the wool. As a mulch, it slowly decomposes, just like any other mulch, and gets incorporated into the soil. Most gardeners are not going to use it in this format because it's not usually sold this way. But if you have a sheep farmer nearby and you can get it, this may be a really good option for you. Most gardeners are going to use wool in the form of wool pellets. These are much easier to use. They're easier to spread on the ground. They can be used as a mulch, but generally gardeners will dig them into the soil as a soil amendment. Because wool has more nitrogen than other organic material, it tends to feed plants better than other organic material. You do have to be careful how much you actually add to the soil. A greenhouse study found that when they added 5 to 10% wool pellets to a peat-based potting media, the plants actually grew better. But when they used 15 or 20% wool, the plants did worse. And in fact, at 20%, they started to die off. Another study I looked at used wool pellets to fertilize tomatoes and spinach and found that it worked just as well as regular fertilizer when they added it so that the fertilizer and the wool provided the same amount of nitrogen. So it does work as a fertilizer. What about slug control? Lots of people claim that wool pellets will stop slugs. Other people claim that the raw wool will stop slugs. There's even a product being sold that consists of wool pellets, and they market it as a slug control. When we look at this wool on a microscopic basis, it has these little ridges, and some people claim that these ridges are sharp enough to keep slugs from crossing them. I don't believe that for a minute. Here's a picture that I use in a lot of my talks. Slugs have no problem crawling over sharp objects. I doubt that ridges on a strand of wool is going to stop them. Lots of YouTubers have tried to show that wool works, and all of the ones that I looked at failed pretty miserably. Now, maybe slugs don't like to crawl on wool, but they certainly will do it to get to their food. Neither raw wool or pellets stop them. The RHS has looked at this in detail, and they came to the same conclusion. Wool doesn't really stop slugs from attacking your plants. If you want to know how to stop slugs and snails, have a look at this video here. The scientists have studied this process and found that bread dough works really well. What about the cost of wool? Well, one thing I like to do is calculate the cost of the nitrogen in different types of fertilizer. That gives us a value for the material. If we're going to buy wool mostly for the nitrogen, then we should compare that cost to the cost of other forms of nitrogen. So what I did was I went on Amazon, looked up two products and compared them. I looked at Howard Johnson's all-purpose 10-10-10, and it worked out to about $13 a pound of nitrogen. If you go to Home Depot, you'll buy it at about half that price. But let's go with the $13 per pound. Wool pellets on Amazon cost $161 per pound of nitrogen. Yeah, you heard me right. Wool pellets cost 12 times as much as regular fertilizer. I see that as a huge negative. Should you use wool in the garden? Well, it is organic material. It will decompose. It does improve soil over time. It does add nutrients, particularly nitrogen, to the soil. It doesn't stop slugs, so you can forget that use. But it's a product that could be used in the garden. It's a good mulch, nothing wrong there. Straw costs you a fraction of the cost. The bottom line of all this is that there's nothing wrong with using wool for the garden, just like any other organic material. I can't find anything special about wool that would make me choose it over another material unless it was readily available. If you have to buy the product, it's super expensive. Now, if you have a cheap source for it, like a local farmer who's trying to get rid of it, then wool is a good choice. If you have to buy a commercial product, then I think it's a ridiculous price and I wouldn't use it. That's the bottom line on wool in the garden. Thank you very much for your support. If you'd like to connect directly with me, the best way is through my Facebook group, Garden Fundamentals. We'll answer all of your questions there. I also have a blog called Garden Myths, where I've debunked over 2,000 different myths. I'll put links to all of these in the description below. Happy gardening.